guys, sorry about the more casual look today. I was like, am I gonna put on a real shirt to do this review? And then I was like, I'm cozy and I'm comfy in my Throne of Gloss sweatshirt. Cause guys, it's been a time. It's been a time, but one of the absolutely brightest spots was this book that I'm going to tell you about today. It is the sophomore book from author Denise Williams. And if that name sounds familiar, it is because last year her debut novel, How to Fail at Flirting, was one of my surprise top 5 books of the year. It was a book that I didn't get an arc or anything. I just got it when it came out and I was like, oh, this sounds cute. And it was one of the cutest but most complex romance novels that I had read in a long time and of that year. So when I saw that Edelweiss had an arc of her second book, I snatched it like nobody's business. So I would like to thank the publisher and Edelweiss for a free copy of this to review. And I have been given that in exchange for my honest and fair review. And it's gonna be a good one because again, How to Fail at Flirting kind of snuck up on me and I wasn't sure, if it was just that story that was gonna do it for me or if what was amazing about that book was kind of like a hallmark of this author. And it turns out it's a hallmark of this author. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about that. But first I'm gonna tell you about the book. So the book this time around is called The Fastest Way to Fall. And this is a story of Britta. Britta is a plus size. Right now she's more of an editorial assistant at a lifestyle magazine blog thing. And she really, really wants to be a writer. It's always been her dream. And she is given an opportunity to kind of compare lifestyle fitness apps with another one of the writers on the staff. And this writer happens to be already rather petite, blonde, the whole shebang. Britta's app is called Fit Me, and the idea is not to lose weight. They don't emphasize that. They emphasize loving the body that you're in and just being healthier in that body and, making sure that you do get exercise. And Claire, the girl that she is kind of competing against and kind of doing the article with, because there's a writer's job open, but only one, and she and Claire both want it. Claire's app is called Hotter You, and Hotter You is much more focused on, the beach bod kind of a style of fitness app. So already you can see in this small plot line that there is, Britta trying to achieve her dreams, trying to, exist as a curvy girl in the universe. Denise Williams has a beautiful opening to this book where she talks about also trying to live her best life as a curvy woman. And I gotta tell you about this book. I can't tell you about why I love it yet. But you can already see some of the plot lines of this romance novel developing. So over on the side of, the male lead, his name is Wes, and he is the CEO and founder of Fit Me. And he is feeling really, really lost in his current role. The CEO/COO of the company used to be his girlfriend, Kelsey, who left the company and him after 6 years together to go fund a company called Hotter You, which she is now running in competition to Fit Me. Wes never wanted to lead a company. He has a degree in, sports science, and he just really loves coaching. And so one of his friends who works at the company suggested he take on a person or two from Fit Me to coach to kind of get his mojo back. And so one of the people that he connects with over the Fit Me app is, of course, Britta. Wes also has some other things going on in his life. He has a sister named Libby who developed an eating disorder when she was in high school and then totally ran away. He really doesn't know where she is because of her relationship with their mother. His mother is a off and on drug addict who he is just trying to keep alive, keep on the straight and narrow. And So there's also a lot of things going on in Wes's life. But Wes and Britta connect through the Fit Me app, and almost like immediately their chemistry is just so obvious, and they're only communicating in text messages, but there's personality, they make each other laugh, and you know, they're both a little lost in their own lives, and they connect through the app, and something happens and it propels them into meeting in real life, and then they realize that the connection that they have over the internet is just one stop on this journey, that they really connect well in real life. But of course this is totally fraught, right? Because Britta is writing about Fit Me. She's supposed to be giving it her free and honest review, and she's becoming more and more involved with the CEO, who is, against the rules he wrote, seeing a client in person. So obviously these other storylines also develop, and it's just, this was the amazing thing about How to Fail at Flirting as well. These books are just so wonderfully crafted to be about two people falling in love, but to also be complicated and to be messy and to say things that aren't just about romance. And there's nothing wrong with a romance book just being about romance, but human lives are also messy. And sometimes I feel like I read romance novels that are incredibly one-dimensional, and it's like, you know, this person and this person, they're gonna get together. And that's the whole thing. And again, nothing wrong with that. I have loved books like that, but these books are just so complicated and messy, and they make you feel emotions, and you feel invested in both Britta's life and Wes's life individually. And you watch them come into their own as their own people. They're not needing each other, right? That's the problem in some romance novels, that they need the other person to like fix their problems, but instead they work together and they work with each other to support each other in their own lives. And guys, these books are so sweet and they're so heartfelt. There's definitely some moments where you're just like, they feelings, but they're just so well done. They're so good. It is also really hard to review a really good book because I just want to squeal a lot. Okay, so there is one thing about this book that I would say was like kind of, meh, was that there seemed to be this communication deficit that was being set up that would end up being, you know, the fight that Wes and Britta would have after they've gotten together to break them apart. You know, it always happens in romance novels. And it seemed like that was being addressed, and then it like weirdly comes back in another form in such a way. And on the one hand, I'm like, are you serious? This is happening just because they didn't talk to each other? But on the other hand, was a little bit more realistic than some of the ways you see these communication deficit arguments happen, because they talk about it. Both of them come away thinking they shared all of the information, and then they realize that they didn't share either enough of it or they weren't clear. Again, human interactions are messy, but I was like, really, this is their fight? There's not enough else going on. Ugh. But in the scheme of things, it was fine, because that kind of communication deficit fight is so common for romance novels, and the book has so much going on that it didn't really focus on that too much. It was like, we have other things to do, and kept moving. So I didn't mind. I'm not a super fan of communication deficit fights. They drive me a little bit up a wall. But you know what? This is honestly just me trying to find something to say that isn't because like I was rating it after I finished reading it, and I was like, I guess I'll give it 4.75. And then I was talking to myself and I was like, why give it 4.75 stars? Like, why are you docking that 0.25 stars? Was there anything in it that really docked, you know, a 1/4 of a star, and I realized no, there really wasn't. Like, I can, you know, nitpick at things here and there, but if I think about romance novels that are an amazing experience to read, but also an experience that I could return to and read about again, both The Fastest Way to Fall and How to Fail at Flirting are absolutely those books. And I just really loved it. If you didn't already catch it, obviously this book, and again, there's a wonderful opening with trigger warnings in the front about, you know, eating disorders and drug addiction and that kind of a thing that do show up in this book. So if those are triggers for you, it's not going to be your book. But if you are interested in those topics being discussed in wonderful ways, I think in some ways, How to Fail at Flirting, it's a wonderful book. But The Fastest Way to Fall, just given her front matter in this book, seems to be Williams's, like, she says it in her introduction, the book that she, as a curvy woman of color, wanted out of romance novels when she was just finding all of these skinny protagonists everywhere. And so if that's the kind of empowering book that you're looking for, as someone who has struggled with their relationship to food in the past, I found a lot in this book that was just really lovely and really sweet and really wonderful. So be warned, but this book is coming out really soon, and I cannot more highly suggest, if it is something that you want to read, go pre-order a copy, get it from your local library, whatever it is. Or if you can't wait until this book comes out, start with How to Fail at Flirting and then read this one. Denise Williams is quickly becoming one of my favorite romance authors, because book 1, book 2, they're just books that have just really blown me away with their complexity and how wonderful they are. So cannot wait to see more of what she writes in the future, and I encourage you all to do the same. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today, guys. Go get this book, and I'll be back with more content soon, hopefully. I haven't missed a Monday yet, even though I want to fall asleep at all times. November is going to be a bad month for my PhD, but we're just going to cross our fingers that I can keep this up. So I will hopefully see you guys soon. Bye.